I'm live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Night Mystery Club. How exciting! How exciting! I really probably should have gotten this shit together in piles. I really did. I should have done that. Now I realize I probably should have gotten these into some kind of order, but I don't. I don't have it. Yeah, fine. And I'm woefully not prepared. Well, I'm prepared, but hold on. Okay. We're just going to have to wing it. Hey, Care Bear. Hey, Howling Baby. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. This should be an interesting show. Steve Billings, my good man. How are you? Hey, Daphne. Hey, Ghost Myth and Legends of Queen Mary. Hello, Randy. Go around. Fancy. This is a big one. Yeah, people love this conspiracy. I hate just keep it real. People love this conspiracy. And you know why? Because it's so true. Hey Flash, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I've said it 1,000 times. But this one, 100%. Hey, Whistle Down. There's so much. I mean, Eva, we are. Let me get this link, and let me add it. Hey, Jonathan. You know, I should have. Well, I didn't, so it doesn't matter. Let me see. Paste. Hold on. Then I can pin this, right? Right? I really should learn how to use this, perhaps. Oh, I'm gonna ban myself. Actually, oh, okay. I almost banned. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Mountain Mama. Penny. All the good people are here. All the good people are here, as usual. I never know how to pin the damn link. Hey, SDA. SDA, y'all can pop up. Hey, Cal, Country Girl. I knew this was going to be a good one. I knew this was going to be a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. Hey, Aunt Kathy. If you'll, I'll speak. I'll yell. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. Oh, never mind. Let me go. Hold on. I got to pin this. Let me pin it. Why am I in my own little world? I'm in my own little world today. Have you ever done that? Just been in your own little world? Just, I love you. My husband was talking to me a little while ago. I was not paying one bit of attention to him. I was like, what? Hey, Courtney. Let's see. Let's see. Let me get this damn thing pinned. Let me see. Hold it. There we go. Well, nope. That's not what I needed to do. Why did I do that? Unbelievable. What the fuck? There we go. Ah! Hey, Peggy, my sweet love. Peggy, he's trying. He sure is trying. God, he's trying. We'll have to do a political show. Serial killer. You can catch me at the kiosk in the lobby. And Queen M. Yeah, he's really trying, Peggy. I got, you know what? My husband voted for that one. And I tried to tell him. He would not listen to me, and now he knows. I know who did it. Well, you know what, SDA? Here's the thing. Hey, Midnight Baker. There's so many probabilities of who could have done it. right? I mean, the Kennedy boys were sloppy. I forgot. You did. The Kennedy boys are and were sloppy. And their father, Joe Kennedy, bred those kids, right, to the boys to be in the White House. That is what he wanted. All he wanted. Now, the first son that he had pinned everything on, which I think is Joe Jr. He sent him to the best schools. I mean, all those kids went to the best schools, but he had John Kennedy, the second son, follow the oldest to the different schools. Hey, November mom. Oh man, I'm sorry. You're not a mom. Yeah, I know what you mean for me. Oh yeah. This is gonna be fun. But Joe Kennedy literally taught those boys, and I've written it down somewhere, but basically he always told his sons growing up to have as much sex with as many women as they could. So when his older son died in the war, everything fell to John Kennedy, not the heir apparent, because he's dead. Hey, Spitfire, hey, Fancy, everybody. I'm glad y'all are here. And I'm going to go over this in a second because the Kennedy clan eats its own when there could have been a possible embarrassment of one of their children. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And y'all probably know, but I've got, let me tell you that. I hate to say to this order, I have loaded so many photos. Well, exactly as they did everyone in the White House, everyone down the street, everyone at the coffee shop on the corner. I mean, my God. And they were sloppy people. They sloppy ass people. A+B. Blurpy. They were some sloppy men. All of them. Every one of us. You remember Ted with Chappaquiddick, and then Bobby and John and I can't right now, but we're gonna go over it. We sure are. We'll talk about Miss Eunice Murray, who was Greenson's her psychiatrist's little spy. I don't know if y'all know this, but Mr. Greenson, her psychiatrist, and Eunice Murray knew each other way before this. Hello, Roberta K. Yes, Ted drowned a woman. He left her in the car. They went right off of like a little jet. I don't know if you call them jetty. The car flipped. He got out. He went home. She's dead. Hey, Jeepers Creepers. Well, there's so many Jeepers Keepers now. I mean, I have had endless books. I have read endless books about this. Hey, rumor has it. But here's the thing, Jeepers Creepers. You can read 50 books on this. You're going to get a different story, a different theory, and more names popping up than anywhere you've seen it before. It is one of those things where there are so many opinions on who did what, and they're all pretty good opinions. I mean, there's a lot of people that could have done this, all right, that could have done this. And there are so many possibilities. And if somebody just, like, all right, let's just pretend like they're the mob, right? Okay, say the mob did it because they were in the running. Break the silence. Hello. There's a reason they could have done that. I mean, there's reasons, right? But and you can read 50 books. And you're going to get 50 different good case is made. They will make a great case about, and you'll read that book and go, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Then you pick up another book, you got a whole new set of people. And then you read that book and go, oh. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And then I honestly think that we could have done this in a 77 part series if we were to go over the argument made for every single person that they think maybe did it. Yeah. So, we're going to figure it out, though. We always say, now, we're not going to solve it tonight, but we're definitely going to talk about it. And then, Marilyn was a orphan, which she hated that word. She would rather be called a waif, which is basically a abandoned child. So with that, when you grow up like that and you're in orphanages and you go back to your crazy mother, and then with your aunt, and then back to a foster home, and then you're raped in a foster home, and then you come back, that I don't know how children do it. And I don't know how they do it, and they grow up and they're not completely berserk. Simple, Becca, or you. I have some new people in here. I love it. I love it. I was really hoping the JFK files were, Trump said he was going to open them up. I'd love to see them. Yeah, Courtney, Marilyn Monroe was a part that she played. She was always a little orphan girl who nobody wanted. This is horrible to say, but that's what she was. And there was not anything on earth that was going to change that. Not in the 1950s and 60s. All right. She played Marilyn Monroe. There's a story where she's on the street in New York. She has got a thing around her head, little scarf around her head, and sunglasses. Nobody's paying her any mind. Nobody. And she said, "Watch this." And all of a sudden, she honed in that inner Marilyn, right? And she stood up a little taller. And that head, and everybody started to then come around and go, "Oh, that's Marilyn Monroe." She used to act like, this is what she would say. If you act like that you're a string, right, is coming straight off the top of your head, like you're being held up by a string, right? And that's the way you walk and move. Hey, Hondo had a very, very, very good stream today. If y'all don't know who Hondo is, you better find out. You better find out. Yeah, so she was really just and then you hear stories. She her acting teachers, she latched onto them. She latched onto their family. All she wanted was a family. I can tell you this from experience. I grew up without a dad, right? I grew up without a dad. And all I ever wanted in life was a family, right? Family, children. But I had no idea what that was. I didn't know what it was like to be married, right? Well, and you have children. And I didn't ever understand what the man's role was. If that makes sense. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that makes sense. But hey, fun second. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know. The older I got, the more I figured it out, 23 years later, But yeah, she would clasp on to anybody, even this psychiatrist of hers, who showed up at a very odd time. I think, very odd time, because people always say that she met the Kennedys around 1960. That's not true. She met them way before that, in the 50s. And we'll talk about Peter Lawford, and we'll talk about the Rat Pack, and we'll talk about Peter Lawford's role in this bullshit that he, Yeah, the Strasburgs. She would just get right on there and just want to be part of the family, and they wanted her to be part of the family. And I mean, I don't know. Let me bring up some. I have got so many. Her mom, Joe DiMaggio. Oh my God, he did love her, didn't he? All right, I'm gonna put you down here for a second. Marilyn, get over there. Get over there, Marilyn. She was so beautiful. If you go back and even look at her, when she was very young, when she at 16, she had to marry that one man because the family that she'd been living in was going to go east, and because she was just and I say just a foster child, she couldn't go with them. So that family arranged for her to marry, the Doherty guy down the street at 16. But I mean, in the 50s, you did that, I guess. All right. Let's get this shit going. All right. I often wondered if she had an issue with men because, she picked. So Joe DiMaggio and her were only married. They only made it 9 months. And he was extremely jealous of any time that she didn't spend with him. I think they went to Japan near their honeymoon so she could go and entertain the troops in Korea, right? And he even got a little bit angry, not angry, but probably did get angry at that. That she was out there doing this, thing. I mean, in the middle of Korea where it is freezing cold, she's out there in a little dress entertaining them, and he's mad. And then we won't even talk about the 7-year itch and that, when they were filming that scene, hey, Fooper, with that dress, he was there in the crowd, madder than hell, beat the hell out of her supposedly the next day or that night. I don't know. And then, but I think he probably loved her very much. Goober, you want to come up here? Oh, Burr. Surprisingly, had a medical condition that made it painful to have sex with men. Well, I'm pretty sure she had endometriosis. And that's why, I mean, she did have a lot. I'll just put it this way. She terminated some pregnancies. How many, I don't know, but which could have had something to do with it. Her not being able to carry. But she was not, you know what? I didn't put any lipstick on. Hold on. Oh no. Oh, Barb. Blow your nose and get that up here. Yeah, and Arthur Miller, when she married him. And if you watch the movie, the film of That Ain't Jane Doe, if you watch those two, I think they were in love. I know she probably loved him very much, and it looked like he adored her. However, what went wrong there was they were somewhere, I can't remember, and she picked up some of his notes, and it talked about how she was no better than his first wife, and she wasn't very smart, and he was embarrassed for his friends to see her. And he tried to tell her that it was a idea for a book or a play, whatever, and she won't fall for it. She wasn't dumb. They say her IQ was in the 160s. Now, if you look at an IQ test, I'd also look this up too. An IQ test doesn't mean Einstein's theory of relativity. It's not that. It's your ability to collect information and come up with the right answer. However you collect it, right? You can read it, see it, whatever. So she could have had a 160. I don't know. There was a lot of actresses that had a whole damn lot. Judy, Judy, Not Judy, not like, nah. Shit. They say Jane Mansfield had a pretty high IQ. It's gonna bug the shit out of me. Had a very high, they had a very high IQ. So her first, yeah, James Doherty. And he seemed like a very nice person. Oh, she read voraciously. She was not dumb. And I understand. Yeah, they did know each other. I think she even kidded around that they should have a baby together. So, hey, Christina. So yeah. She wasn't dumb. She read a lot. And I can imagine, no, not Judy Garland. It's Judy Holiday. Judy Holiday. So that's it. She had a very, very high IQ. Jane Mansfield's husband was a devil. Which one? Which one? Mr. Hargitay. I don't know. He wasn't. Mr. Hargitay was, but I think the one after him actually was. So I think you're right about that. Jane Mansfield did a lot of stupid shit for publicity. She is another one that had to play stupid. She wasn't stupid. She made dumb decisions though. But hey, we're women. That's what we do. But yeah. Well, a lot of people think Judy. A lot of people believe that, and my mother to this day think that in the accident that killed Jane Mansfield, that she was decapitated. No, she wasn't. It was a wig on a form, because they were going from one one club to another. She had the youngest children in the back seat, and they went up under that truck, but she wasn't. You can even read, I think it's the autopsy. She was. I mean, don't worry, she had some injuries now, but she wasn't decapitated. All right, let's see. And we have this pinned. The link is pinned. So let's get started, shall we? Let's do it. Let's do it. We got a lot to jump into here. All right, so I finished she dated Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin. Can we talk about Charlie Chaplin for a minute? Can we? Charlie Chaplin only liked prepubescent girls. He was a groomer. He had to marry, I know the first two because they were underage and pregnant. And then when he married Uni, was it Uni? Was that her name? She was very young. When they went over to France, they wouldn't let him back over here because of his love young girls. And they had a shitload of children. Yeah, he was a real Charlie Chaplin was, but we can talk about his life too, because his mother was also a little loon, right? And him and his brother would go back and forth into an orphanages and stuff like that. And then finally, his older brother went and joined basically a circus and became an acrobat. And so Charlie, once that last time his mother went into an insane asylum, he joined his brother, and they came to America. And the girl that Charlie Chaplin left in England was also, both of them were really young. This is why I think maybe why he liked young girls. He had to leave her because he had to come to America. He had nothing holding him there. And, I think eventually he went back over there and found out that the girl died. But was 130. Yeah, it was pretty high. I know it's pretty high. Hey, Cheyenne. Black woman passed as white. Oh, that a movie? No. You know about the movie, what was the name of that movie? So y'all are making me recall all of my worthless knowledge. Because there was a movie like that. It was yep. It was. Hey, Rain Girl. Um, the one that killed, she killed her daughter, killed the guy. I'm having brain farts. Hey, Alan. Um, do you know the Misfit song? Who killed? I don't. I don't. You know, I'll tell you this. Hey, Drama Bitch. Marilyn was key in getting I think it was Ella Fitzgerald. They wouldn't they couldn't go into clubs back then. I don't know if it was segregated. And Marilyn Monroe was like, oh hell no. This is my friend Pearl. And we coming in. You know, just like when the movie Gone with the Wind came out. And they weren't going to let not Butterfly McQueen, but y'all, you're making me broth. They didn't let her. She won an Academy Award, supporting actress. They weren't going to let her into the venue. And Clark Gable said, if she don't go, I don't go. And they did. And when she won the Oscar, they kind of escorted her out very quickly. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's evil. It's evil. What was her name? I'm sorry. I'm dropping all these names. I have no idea. Pay no attention to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, let's get her up here. Merlin. Let's get Merlin up here. I don't want to remove. I want to do this. Oh, then y'all can't see me. Foofer, thank you. Thank you. Oh, hold on. What am I doing wrong here? I am not having a good day today. Not having a good day. All right, let's bring you back up, baby. There we go. Oh, shit, that's me again. All right, this is one of my favorite photographs of Marilyn Monroe. There's another one that is the saddest one I've ever seen in my life, and is when I didn't put it on here, but I did put it on one of the posts where I was, get Lana Turner. Teresa, thank you. I'm going to remember Lana Turner. I put it in one of my community posts, trying to drum up some interest for this. And it is her lawyer and her coming out and announcing that her and Joe DiMaggio were not married, were divorcing. And she is so crushed. And it's one of my favorite photographs of her, and I don't really know why, because it's so sad. But it is. So this is one of my favorite. I mean, look at her. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. You would think, look at her. She has it all. But she didn't have anything. And I will tell you this, when I start reading this, the autopsy, when she got taken into the coroner's office, and they took the sheet off of her, and she had that fixed lividity, which is, we'll go over that too. Fixed lividity is when she died on her stomach with her head kind of cocked over. So when you die, within 30 minutes to 4 hours, that all that blood in your body that stops moving sinks. All right. And that doesn't go away. When they drain the blood out. But so that's how they know exactly how somebody is the position that she was in when she died. And so when we look at this photograph, I have a photograph of it, so I'll warn y'all before. My first time watching Marilyn was in the movie 2 Men Dressed. Yeah, Something Like It Hot. Yeah, she was so beautiful. Yeah, but you'll see, and they said, well, she was just an aging actress. 36 she was. An aging actress who was unkempt. Oh, okay. That's fine. Sure. Whatever. All right, let's go. Should I make this big? Well, y'all can see. Oh, yeah, no, we're good. I can see it right here, so we're good. I can see it good. All right, here's another one of her that I just love. I think, look at that. And this is a character. Hey, Stoney. This was a character to her, but this is one that she read. That's another from the same shoot. This is from the same photo shoot. I just love them. Let's talk about these Kennedys. We have to talk about these Kennedys right now. Now I told y'all on the left here is the first son, Joe Kennedy's first son, who he had pinned every single hope on. And then you have John to the right, obviously. John Kennedy was very sickly his whole life. So they got the same education, basically. Hey, Miss Mama. They got the same education. Good thing. But when Joe died, the oldest son, then everything fell over to John. Again, a sickly kid. Now, we could talk about the Kennedys all day because that was one effed up family. The mother, sorry, Rose Kennedy, wherever you are, was a train wreck. Joe Kennedy was the one that gave the children hugs. And when John was very ill, Joe Kennedy would sit with him by his bedside. That was, Rose was kind of a absentee mother unless she was spit down another kid. So there we are. All right. Now, the reason I'm telling you this right here, this is Rosemary Kennedy. She's the oldest daughter and the third child of Joe and Rose. Now, so when Rose was giving birth to this child, he would not, for some reason, give birth. She wanted to wait until Joe got there. And so by her, and I don't listen, I've had children. I don't know how you Aaron. Hold on. I don't know how you keep a baby in, but she did. And when she did that, Rosemary was born, with some difficulties. All right, I got that down. She was born with some difficulties. She was slow. She had a really bad temper. She would, because think about this, and I've read the book on her. She had the two older brothers, very smart, and then all the children that came after her were very smart. They would sit on the porch, all the children, and everybody could tell that Rosemary was just a little bit different. She was a little slower. She would get very agitated very quickly. And what Joe and Rose, the older this girl got, they would send basically all the kids to a boarding school. Rosemary was not. She was challenged. So they would send her to these very expensive boarding schools, and she was getting nothing out of it. And pretty soon the boarding school would have to send her back and say, look, we can't do anything with her. I don't know what to tell you. This girl does not need to be here. And they would go, okay, and then they would send her to another one. So the older Rosemary got, all she wanted to do was, she loved her parents. She loved her brothers. Okay. And sisters, don't get me wrong. And she would write these letters home. Hey, Mama Cannoli. Yeah, very much so. The older she got, she would run away from these schools and wouldn't show up again for a couple of days. Now, Joe Kennedy, I'm telling y'all right now, had very big aspirations for his children when they were very small. Okay. He too liked actresses. Joe, good Lord, he had a long time affair with Gloria Swanson. He managed her career and her money, lost half of her money. He says, I love you. Lost a lot of her money, but she got it back. So he had a pension for actresses as well. But Joe was so worried that Rosemary was going to cause the family some embarrassment by getting pregnant, or, because she was starting to be a woman, that he had her put in an institution. And supposedly a doctor said, listen, we've got this new procedure, and they're called lobotomies. And what we're going to do is we're going to get that damaged part. We're going to kill that off. And she should be fine. And so the story goes that Joe Kennedy said, yeah, let's do that. And the mother didn't know until after it was done. I don't know if that's true. So while they're doing this, and if you don't know, when they give you a lobotomy, you're awake. You're awake. And she was reciting things while they were doing this, right? That's how they know that you're still there, right? Hey, outshine. All of a sudden, I don't know what she was reciting. I can't remember what it was. She just stopped. She just stopped. And that is when Rosemary Kennedy was 23. She went all the way down to the capacity of a 2 to 3 year old. She couldn't walk. She couldn't talk. She had no kind of control over any of her body. The children didn't even know this, did not know where she was or what had happened to her. I don't know why you're not asking yourself, have you seen my Rosemary? Well, you know what, John? No, I haven't. Dad, have you seen Rosemary? No. So she lived out her life in, let me see. I know all this, but I can't remember. In an institution in 1949 is when she went to a nursing home. Joe Kennedy never visited his daughter after that. He never laid eyes on her again. That's how he sacrificed one of his own so that his kids could be everything he wanted them to be. So that is another thing why I'm saying, if you think the Kennedys couldn't have done this to Marilyn Monroe, they sacrificed one of their own so they wouldn't be embarrassed. There we go. And also, they did not know until Joe died, the dad died, what had happened to Rosemary and where she was. Now, John Kennedy, I want to say he was already the president, but I might be wrong. But I know that John Fitzgerald Kennedy visited her often where she was. So, and all the other children, and there's like, the Special Olympics. I think that was Eunice Kennedy who started that in honor of Rosemary. So Rosemary ended up dying, I think it was 86 years old. January 7th, 2005 is when she died. Yeah. So they were perfectly willing to, killing somebody ain't above them. All right. They, like I said, sacrificed their own. So let's go. Hey, Mom. Another shot of Joe Jr. and the sickly Mr. John Kennedy there. Okay, well, there they are. Bobby Kennedy and John Kennedy, president and attorney general. We had this conversation back, if y'all will remember, if y'all were here with me during the Dorothy Kilgallen, I know I keep mentioning her name, but yeah, these guys, Joe Kennedy basically had promised every union out there, every mob boss out there, that if they elected his son, who would be the first Catholic president of the United States, hey, you elect my son, you get your unions to do it, you're not going to have any trouble with us. Hey, we don't know nothing. All right, okay, mob, we don't see shit. And they did elect him. Nobody told Bobby Kennedy that his daddy had promised this. So Bobby Kennedy started going right after, when he was attorney general for his brother, went right after mobsters. Right, there's one of him and Jimmy Hoffa that is an exchange Well, really, him and all of them. He had Bugsy Siegel, the Virginia, whatever her name is. She was there. He called everybody in front of this, committee. So that's what I'm saying. These enemies started piling up, I can't. I'm so thirsty. Yeah, here's the gruesome twosome though. Here's another one. Look, they look. This is a very telling one. I'm pretty sure this is probably during the Cuba Missile Crisis, but I might be wrong. I don't know. But to say that these two men weren't, extremely close and had the same ideas about everything is, Now, yes. Oh, yes, Midnight Paper. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let me put this over here. I have to transfer my notes from one side of the desk to the other so I know I've done it. Now, y'all know who if y'all don't know who the Rat Pack is, because I hate to talk to people like they don't know, but some people just don't know. The Rat Pack, there's Peter Lawford. He was part of the Rat Pack. He married John and Bobby's sister. So he was their brother-in-law. Here's the Rat Pack. You got Joey Bishop, you got Sammy Davis, you got Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Peter Lawford. That's the Rat Pack. They kind of ran Las Vegas, they kind of ran Palm Springs, they kind of ran Hollywood. Sinatra was a absolute 100% mob related type person. All right, he was connected. So they say that that Peter Lawford's the one that introduced Marilyn Monroe to John and Bobby in the 60s, around 1960. She knew him before that. But Peter Lawford was the one who facilitated these trysts. Let's put it that way. They would come to his house. They'd come to Hollywood. She would go up. She became very close with the Rat Pack. So much so that Dean Martin, Marilyn's very last movie that she was going to do, Something's Gotta Give. Yeah, this was a remake of My Favorite Wife, starring Cary Grant and Irene Dunn. And if you don't know the premise of that movie, it is the couple's married, they have 2 kids. She goes off on some kind of adventure, and her boat sinks. And so he has to wait. He's a lawyer. He has to wait 7 years to have her declared dead. So he goes to court and he wants to declare her dead. And he's got his new fiance right here beside him. So he satisfies the court that his wife has died. While he's doing this, his wife has been picked up in the South Seas, and she's now home, and she's looking at her children, and she's he marries this other woman that same day, and finds out that she's still alive, and the comedy ensues. So this was a remake of that. Dean Martin and Marilyn Monroe. Now, Marilyn Monroe, we all know she was on drugs. I'm not, right? Hey, Julie from Philly, we all know that she was on drugs. Recreational, no, I don't think so. But she had a hard time showing up. She had a hard time, she just didn't show up. The doctor would write her excuses like, sinusitis or whatever. And so they literally shot every single thing around her that they could. They lost about $2 million. And this is in 1962. In 1962 also, let me just tell you this, Cleopatra was being filmed. That's the first. Elizabeth Taylor did not want to do Cleopatra. And she said, I'm not going to do it. Watch this. All right, I'll do it for $1 million. Knowing they weren't going to pay her $1 million to do Cleopatra, they paid her $1 million to do Cleopatra. that movie was also running way over budget. Okay, so they, and we'll get to it in just, I'll show you in just a second. They fired Marilyn Monroe after her doctor wrote her an excuse. She was too sick. But then Marilyn shows up in New York at Madison Square Garden and sings happy birthday to the president of the United States. So they fired her. And then Dean Martin said, I'm not going to do it if she's not doing it. So they rehired her. All right. There we are. There we are. This is the famous singing of the happy birthday. She had to be sewn into this dress when she got there. I don't know if y'all know that. She had to be sewn into that dress. And when you watch her walk out, right, she's kind of shuffling because her legs can't move. But anyway, and then I'm going to show you the only picture that exists of Marilyn, John, and Bobby. Okay. And that is this one right here. And that is from that night. I chose not to go through a lot of, the pregnancies, the divorces, Kim Kardashian wore that dress. Don't get me started on that. So I wasn't going to do a lot of background about her marriage and all that. I mean, she desperately wanted, some people say that she was with Bobby and John at the same time, just at different times. Some say that she was dating John Kennedy and then he kind of cast her off to Bobby, and that's how that went. And I don't know. None of us will ever know, I don't think. But it was Bobby in the end that I think he really loved her, oddly enough, but they were Catholic. And they were Catholics in, on a global stage. So him saying that he wanted to divorce his wife and marry her, it won't never going to happen. Some people think that he told her that. I don't know. We will never know. But at this point, okay, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here, right? I mean, this is the beginning of the end. And here we go with Peter Lawford and his sister, and there's Mr. John. I'm just letting y'all know how close Peter Lawford was to these people, and the things that Peter Lawford said when she died. He had a whole thing about talking to her or whatever. So this is them. And then we have, there's Peter again with them. And then here's Peter again with them. And here's Peter. And that's Sinatra. So they were in pretty good. And there's Peter Lawford, Sinatra, and Bobby. So these were, exactly pillow talk. That's right, Daggy. All right, this is green. So let's go back to this. So Marilyn, I told you, Marilyn was not a stupid woman in the least. All right. But when she was in a relationship with John Kennedy and Bobby, they would talk about something and she would jot it down. All right. Not blackmailing. She would just jot it down. Right. And then afterwards, she would go look it up, and she would know the next time she saw them, basically, what they were talking about. And we also have the little red diary, which I'll get to in a second. So, yeah, they were so sloppy. These boys were so sloppy. Anyway, all right. So the week before she died, they have to talk. It depends on who you talk to on what Marilyn was going through the weeks and months before she died. Some people say she was disheveled. Life was over. She had gotten fired from the movie. Um, you know, couldn't sleep. They broke up with her. The Kennedys broke up with her. And she just had no, or you could talk to someone else, said she'd never been better. She had, if she got the movie back, things were looking up. She just bought a new house, her first home, 12305 Helena Drive. And she was really excited about this part of her life. Again, I can tell you, now that was Jane Mansfield, Peg. You think about Jane Mansfield? She paid her house was pink. I'm going to show the picture of her house. It's a above head, right? Aerial view, because we'll get to it. So anyway, before the week or so before she died, a month or so, it depends on who you talk to, on what she was going through. Now, Dr. Greenson, which is her psychiatrist, pretty much gave up every one of his clients because he had to go to her house daily to do therapy daily. So yeah, there were some issues there. I think there's some issues there. But yeah. So yeah, hold on, let's go. We'll go this way. There he is. Now, let's go to the day she died. Now, I've got this written down, so I'm going to try to just do it off the top of my head. But so Marilyn had a press agent. Her name was Pat Newcomb. And Pat Newcomb was a very good friend of the Kennedys, by the way. And Pat Newcomb had spent the night at Marilyn's house on the 3rd. So it was Friday night, Saturday morning she woke up. Her and Marilyn had a little tiff that morning because Pat could sleep till 12 o'clock and Marilyn couldn't sleep, and they got into an argument. This is from Eunice Murray, the housekeeper / spy. But then they made it up, and they were going to spend the day by the pool, and then they were going to go to Peter's house for a dinner party later that night. And Marilyn Monroe, they delivered a table. Now, Marilyn Monroe's home was Mexican. It was a Mexican, go look at it. I'll put the address in here. Let me see. It's, shit. Well, why don't I just put my thing there? It's hold on. It's a really large house. I think when people see the house from one side, it seems like it's very small, but it's not. It's a pretty damn big house. So she, a table that she wanted to come in, right? This little tables that she signed for. And then I think some plants that Marilyn had ordered showed up. So, all right. So Dr. Greenson here shows up for their daily therapy, and he asked Miss Newcomb to leave. All right, she went shopping. All right, so that was around, I want to say 4-ish. I could be wrong. Around 7 o'clock, Dr. Greenson he leaves. He has asked Eunice Murray, the maid, to spend the night with Marilyn, to keep an eye on her. Let me tell you about these two. So, Eunice Murray and her husband built a house, I don't know, 10, 12 years before this, and they couldn't pay for it, right? So Dr. Greenson here bought that house, and he employed Eunice as a keeper. Hey, Kamala. So he knew Eunice way before he knew Marilyn. Around 1960 is where Mr. Dr. Greenson here shows up. She had already known the Kennedys. All right, she already knew them. This wasn't he magically showed up, So he leaves around 7 o'clock. Eunice is there. Pat Newcomb, I think, goes over to Peter Lawford's house. She's not waiting around. So, and this is where we get messed up. All right, pay attention. So, there's a story that the week before her death, Bobby Kennedy had called Marilyn and said, listen, don't call me anymore. Don't call my brother. This is over. We're done. And she got very angry. And she got very hurt. She had the direct numbers. All right. She didn't. Hello, White House. She had their direct numbers. That's one story. Another story is that on the day she died, she told Bobby he better get his ass to her house straight away, right? Or there was going to be trouble. So he was in California. He flew. He went to her home at around, I want to say, late afternoon, early evening. He was seen by neighbors going into the house with two men. Now, what I tried to do was get a picture of the house in 1962 to see if you could see somebody coming in or out of the house. If it was, if it wasn't just a driveway, I want to know how the neighbors saw him. It was more than one neighbor, and they all said the same thing. Bobby with two men. One was carrying a bag, like a doctor bag. Another story is that she called John Kennedy that night. That the last call she made was to John Kennedy, and she said, "Oh, I'm gonna have his press conference on Monday. Y'all are getting ready to hear it." And they needed to act fast. All right. So when Grissom leaves Maryland at 7:00, she's fine. She's not drinking. She's not drugged up. Around 7:30 to 7:45, Joe DiMaggio's son, Joe Jr., another Joe, calls Marilyn and tells Marilyn that he has broken up with a girl that she doesn't like. She hated this girl. And so Joe DiMaggio Jr. called and said, I broke up with her, Marilyn. Marilyn was ecstatic. Marilyn and Joe Jr. says she was not slurring. She was not unhappy. She was very happy. She was very excited. Marilyn, when she gets off the phone with Joe Jr., calls Dr. Grissom and tells him the news, right? This is all around 8:00. Eunice Merhone. I'm talking too much. I need some water. Hey, Cinderella. Oh, thank you for popping in. So 8:00, this golden hour, right? Marilyn takes the phone and goes into her bedroom and shuts the door. That is the last time Marilyn Monroe possibly was seen alive. We'll go that way. Peter Lawford calls her at 8:00, and he says that she's very doped up and she's slurred her words. She was very depressed, and he was telling her to come on, Marilyn, come on out, to the park. Sassy Sarah, why are you not wrenched? Hold on. Well, why are you not wrenched? Sorry. You are now. Hey, Sean. So Peter Lawford calls. Marilyn, come on out. He says that she is despondent. You couldn't understand her. She was slurring her words. And here's what he says she said to him. Tell Pat, which is his wife, tell Pat I said goodbye. Tell the president I said goodbye. And tell yourself goodbye because you're really a nice guy. And the phone did not go dead. She just kind of drifted away. So he calls a friend and says, listen, you got to go over to Maryland. Something's wrong with her. That guy tries to call, right? Couldn't get her. Then another guy, another friend of Peter's, he's called him. He's getting his shoes on around 11 o'clock, right? And just happens to call Marilyn's home and speaks to Eunice Murray. Eunice says she's fine. She's here. She's fine. Problem solved. Yay. So the official story is that Eunice wakes up at 3 to 3:30 in the morning and comes out of her room. And let's get to this. Let me show you this house. This is her physician, Engelberg. That's another one right there. There's Miss Eunice. Hello, Miss Eunice. Okay. This is a prescription written to Marilyn Monroe from her Dr. Engelberg. If you look on here, and it's, crazy. He's got her getting 25 tablets of Seconal. There's another 75 tablets of, I think phenobarbital up at the top. I don't know if that's supposed to be Valium, but there was 50 of those. These are some of the prescriptions that she had. Let's look at some more. Here's another one for Percodan that he wrote her on 6/18/62. If we go back over here, this is the physician. This was written on 7/10/62. It's there at the bottom. And okay, we're going now. This is Marilyn in the last month or so of her life. Let's say 6 months. Let's say 6 months, because I think this is from Misfits. So yeah, this was the end. This is the last photo shoot. One of the last photo shoots. Pretty famous. There she is again. She's 36 years old. She's 36 years old. And they called her an aging star at the damn coroner's office. The fuck on. This is, I think, almost the day she died. She did an interview for, I want to say, Vogue or Vanity Fair. I cannot remember which one it is. That's a tape recorded. That's a tape recorded interview. And if you go watch the documentary on Netflix, The Mystery of Marilyn Monroe, the man who Anthony Summers wrote a book, and he goes through Hello Cat. He goes through all these tapes that people have made. That's her speaking, and it's telling. All right, so here we are. This is for Something's Gotta Give. Hey now, Kennedy. So she's got the script there. We're gonna come through, and you're gonna see this is for the film. She's having these screen tests done in different outfits. This is a very famous one. Now you can go on YouTube and find. This is actually, a lot of these are actually not still. They're videos of it. I mean, look at this right here. Come on. Okay. Yeah. Now, let's go. Here we go. So, 11 o'clock. Eunice tells this guy, now she's fine. She's fine. She's good. She's perfect. Now, I found this odd because I'm thinking, wait a minute. If Marilyn took the phone in her room, all right, and it was busy because she didn't hang it up, how did this second guy, and I have their name, but it doesn't really matter. How did this second guy call and talk to Eunice? Well, Marilyn had two lines. One was for business. The other one was for, friends and whatnot. I found that out today, that it was actually two lines. So she says she gets up at 3 a.m. This is the story that Eunice is telling. She looks, and Eunice had a bathroom on her end of the house, okay? But Eunice says she gets up 3:30, has a bad feeling. Hey, Kimmy, and goes and looks at Marilyn's door and can see the light on under her door. Okay. And so for whatever reason, Eunice Murray calls Dr. Greenson. and says, listen, something's not right. I'm knocking on the door. The phone's in there. She won't answer me. The light's on. And Dr. Greason says, go outside. Okay. Go outside. Look in her window, her bedroom window, and tell me what you see. So she does. And she comes back around. And she says, she's in there. She's not moving. She's on her stomach. She's not moving. She's doing nothing. Dr. Greason said, okay, I'm on my way. He shows up, 4-ish. Let's say 4-ish. 4 a.m. He goes, he knocks the window out with a poker. There's a story about that too. Apparently, some of the glass was outside of the window, not inside the window. Darlie, do you remember Darlie, what's her face, made that mistake, or possibly when she pretended like somebody broke into her house. She knocked the glass the wrong way. So apparently, he says he goes, he breaks the window, he gets in there, she's dead. So do we call the ambulance? No, let's call Dr. Engelberg. Okay, let's call him. Let's get him over here. Dr. Engelberg comes over. Oh, yep, she's dead. So they called the police around like 4:25, 4:30 in the morning. She's picked up. She's taken to the coroner's office, blah, blah, blah. Probable suicide. I can give you the levels, but probable suicide. She was despondent. She was depressed. And then we have Peter Lawford's word for it too, because Peter Wright was the last one that talked to her and said, oh, she was saying goodbye to me, goodbye to Pat, goodbye to the president. Really, Peter? So you're covering for your friend and your brothers-in-law. What makes more sense? That your brothers-in-law, both of them, had jilted this woman, treated her like shit, and now she was suicidal, or you protecting your friend who your brothers-in-law screwed over? What's going on? Who is he going to protect? I'm going to bet he's going to protect the brother-in-laws, and that's what happened. So the only person that heard Marilyn Monroe on the phone, drugged, slurring, and depressed was Peter Lawford. I told you, Joe DiMaggio Jr. had called her anywhere from 7:30 to 7:45, somewhere in there. She was not slurring. She was not drunk. She was happy. She was fine. What happened between 7:45, let's say 7:30? Greenson leaves at 7. Joe Jr. calls at 7:30. Marilyn calls Dr. Greason at 7:45. Okay. Only one person says that she's suicidal, and that's Peter Lawford. But I guess Dr. Greason kind of thought it was too, because he told Eunice to stay. So, did the poker have the hook on the back of it? I don't know. Freaking, that's a really good question. That's a good question. I don't know. It could have done that, yeah. But you'll see, this is a photograph. I mean, this is the photograph of her. Now, there is a movie that they made that has this, it's this, but, I mean, it's not as ugly as that. This is ugly. All right. This is her. She's dead. Now, yeah, I mean, so, and again, you can see where, remember the fixed lividity. That is where she died on her stomach with her head turned into the pillow, okay? Yeah. Now, there's one, there's a couple of odd things going on. One, there was nothing in her room. That she had a bathroom in the room, but it wasn't working. They were, she was having the whole place tiled up and whatnot, and her bathroom didn't work, or the water in there didn't work. Now, if you look over here, look down, okay, from the table and go over to the left a little bit, that could be water. That's actually a jug with a cup on top of it. But I don't think if she's taking all these pills, she's going to put it back there perfect, but I could be wrong. So there was really nothing in the room she could have used to take all those pills. The pills that she took, she'd only had them refilled 2 to 3 days before this. The Nebutol, which is phenobarbital. And they were gone. So we have that. Now, we also have, bless her heart. This is all the official story. Okay, official story. In the autopsy, there was no pill casings in her stomach. Her stomach was empty, as a matter of fact. It just had some kind of like mucusy stuff. Nothing, oh, what the hell's that? No, it had nothing in her stomach. Nothing. Not a pill casing, nothing. When the coroner, what the fuck his name is, I'll think of it better. He even took Lavender. He took like a piece of her stomach to see if the drug crystallized what it should have done had she taken it orally. There was no crystals or anywhere in her stomach. Namaguchi is the one that did it. Namaguchi is listen. We talked about Namaguchi when we did Natalie Wood. Namaguchi's always got his hand in this. And Namaguchi wasn't even the head coroner. In fact, he said when he went into work that day on that Monday, because she died on a Saturday night, Sunday morning. When Namaguchi got into the office, there was a note on his desk. Hey, how you doing? Can you go do can you go do that on that autopsy on Marilyn Monroe? Namaguchi said he couldn't figure out why he was the one doing it. He wasn't the most senior one there, but he was like, oh, whatever. They took her in. So we have no pills in her stomach. We have no casings in her stomach. We have nothing, but she committed suicide. Okay. So what they believe happened was that that Eunice Murray, in some way, shape, or form, gave Marilyn a enema that had the drug in it. That is some, I don't know if I should say. I guess I should say this, but do you know that when there was an actress, I'm not gonna mention her name. I don't know why I'm just not. She was an alcoholic, right? And she had promised everybody that she quit drinking, and they would kind of just come and smell her and stuff like that. She would soak a tampon in vodka and insert it and get drunk. And y'all can check that out if you want. So what they think is, but when Namaguchi looked at her, intestine and in her colon and all that, it wasn't like it didn't look like there'd been an enema there. But anyway, all right. Namaguchi also went over her entire body with a looking glass to see if there were any punctures, any kind of shot that was taken. He couldn't find one. So she didn't have a shot. She didn't swallow them. Rectally, it could have been done. There was still some kind of, waste up there. So, yeah. Now, when they got her to the coroner's office, she was in full rigor. All right. So, she had been dead, they said, anywhere from 8:30 that night to 10:30 that night is when she died. That's their story, and they're sticking to it. So between 8:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. is when they say she died. Now, we know, right, that Peter Lawford, so we had Joe Jr. call, okay, she's fine. 8 o'clock, Peter Lawford calls, she's off her face. At 11 o'clock, the friend of Lawford's calls the house. Eunice says, "Oh, she's fine. Don't worry about it. She's good. She's good." Okay. Well, that's the official story. That's the official story. Also, let me just tell you this. A lot of people had a problem with this because when people die of overdoses, this is in several spots. If y'all do your own research, you will see. What generally happens is when you are dying from an overdose, right, you will begin to vomit. All right. It's your body's way of trying to get the shit out. And so you will vomit. You will contort. Your arms will contort, your legs, because it's your body trying to stay alive, right? So Marilyn was found face down, legs stretched out, not contorted, arms beside her, phone in her hand. They all thought that was odd because she should have been contorted. There should be vomit all over her. This should have been a struggle. Hey, Judy. But this is not. It was none of that. Now, yeah. So that's the official story, right? Suicide. Oh no. The whole world thinks she killed herself. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back just a little bit. I told y'all that the neighbors saw Bobby Kennedy and two other men go into her house late afternoon, early evening. Now that's the same time that Greenson would have been there around that time. That's, they didn't run into each other. Okay, that's fine. Now Marilyn had another press guy, and that's Jacob. Hold on. Arthur Jacob. Nope. Hold on, I'll find it. Y'all know I got it. Let's just call him Arthur. I can't find his name. He and his wife were at the Hollywood Bowl watching a concert. At 10:30 that night, all right, while they're at the Hollywood Bowl, him and his wife, somebody comes up to him and says, "You gotta go. You gotta go. Marilyn, you gotta go. Bye. You gotta go." They left the concert. He went over to her house. She's dead. At 10:30, they're over there, and she is dead. This is one of the stories. They had an ambulance service pick her up. Now, in Hollywood at the time, just because you call the ambulance doesn't mean it was Los Angeles ambulance service. They had services. Thank you, Arthur Jacobs. I knew I had that right. They have an ambulance service pick her up. This is the second story we're talking, the non-official one. And that driver, the driver of that, said they picked her up. They were taking her to Santa Monica Hospital. She died on the way, and they turned around and brought her back. They put her back in the bed. And that's why he said that's why her legs were straight, her arms, she wasn't contorted, she didn't have vomit all over. Okay, there we go with that. Mind you, Eunice is always there. Now, another policeman that showed up on the scene that night said that early morning actually, that Eunice Murray was washing sheets when he came in to the house. She was washing sheets. Well, they brought her back. Yeah, Rain Girl, this is the thing. This is the thing. Now, that cop thought it was pretty odd. I got his name too, but I don't know what it is. He thought that was odd that she was washing the sheets, because why are you doing that? This is a crime scene, I mean, even if they thought it was a suicide, you can't let people running around washing clothes. But anyway, Eunice Murray said from the beginning she never saw Bobby Kennedy there. He wasn't there. No, wasn't there. Wasn't there. Nope. Not even a little bit. So there's several stories about this. If they picked her up around 11 or so, they took her to the hospital. She died on the way. They brought her back. Then there's a story where her body was missing for 6 hours. They picked her up in the middle of the night. They had this. I don't even want to talk about this, but it's out there, so I guess I will. That once, apparently there are a bunch of necrophiliacs who like to have sex with dead bodies. And when the ambulance people let their people know, right, that a lot of people showed up to have sex with their dead body. But again, Noguchi looked at her everything, and there was no sign that she had sex any time before she died. I didn't know if I was going to talk about that, but I guess I have to. And that's why they say her body was missing for 6 hours. Not really. Let's go through here. That's a close-up, obviously. Now you see she's got a little bit of lividity in her arms right here. Oh, y'all can't see where I'm pointing. Okay, I need to get a pointer. So this is the ugly truth, okay? Either this is suicide or this is murder. It really can only be two. Accidental suicide. I don't think you accidentally take 67 Nemutols and, that's how many they worked out the dosage with all these, mathematical whatevers. And so, it was like 67. There was no Nebutols left that she just gotten filled 2 or 3 days before. They were all gone. There was also another chlorohydrate was another in her system that was there. So, to say that James Hall, right. So they let her die. I mean, this is the second story. The problem, one that probably happened. They let her die. She had to die. I mean, she was getting ready to bring down the fucking president. I mean, she had a press conference set for Monday. Okay. What she was going to talk about, nobody knows. Then I read that it was going to be a press conference in Mexico. And then no, it was going to be a press conference in LA. What she was talking about, it was like a question and answer type thing that she wanted to do because people, I guess, thought, I don't know. Nobody really knows. But before she could get to that press conference, she was dead 48 hours before it. Okay. So somebody had to know what she was going to say. Or not say. I don't know. This is when all the stories start popping up. These are when all the stories start, right? This is when you start getting, the ambulance guy said, yeah, we took her back, she was okay, and she was dead. But we have that fixed lividity that I told you about, right? So where the position you die in is where that blood's going to pool. And that's fixed after a certain amount of time. Flipping you over, right? It's not going to. Pat Newcomb, well, she was there that morning, but then that night, STD, if you know anything about this, there are so many stories about who was there. It's like everybody in LA was there. So we had the fixed lividity. Now, when you roll her over, okay, right, it doesn't change that lividity. The fixed, it doesn't change it. There was some lividity in her back when Namaguchi, he pushed on her, her skin and it went away. So that's like, I can't remember what that's called. Now, one of the ambulance drivers said that when he got there, she was actually on her side. And then they put her in the ambulance. Could have been. She wasn't dead when they took her out of that house. She was alive. So getting her back, and they say it sets in between 30 minutes and 4 hours. So, it could have been they put her there, she died, that's where the lividity is. I don't know. I don't know. Now, here's Eunice that night or that morning showing, I think, the window that she tried to look through. I never could get a good explanation for this photograph, but it was taken the morning of. Oh, yeah, there were doctors there at her home at Marilyn's home. Oh, yes, there were 100%. And okay, so this is a part of this house. This isn't even all of the house. This is a pretty big house. And where Marilyn's bedroom is in this, I could not. And SDA, if you know, you better get your ass up here and tell me. There is, I want to say it's by the pool. Do you see how large this home is? Now, this is current, and you see that swimming pool was all like concreted over, but this is a sprawling house. It's not a little house. So I want to say that her bedroom was over here near the pool. That's what I seem to recall. So it would be, you can't see where I'm pointing. It would be around this pool area somewhere. So SDA, Pat lied that she wasn't there. Oh, yeah, she was there. Well, she'd been there that morning. I mean, then left when Dr. Greensom told her to go. So now when I looked at these photographs, I again went back to, would the neighbors have been able to see Bobby Kennedy pull up with two guys in the car? And I could not get a clear enough photograph of her house that night or anytime anywhere near that time to see if you could have seen it, the house from the road. So that throws another. Well, the neighbor said he was. Eunice said he wasn't. But please hold on, because all that shit changes in a little while. All right, so this is the house. Again, sprawling home. They were going to tear this down, actually. And then it got saved as a historical whatever, and they didn't take it down. And if you go look inside this home, you could. I told y'all I'll do it again. It's 1, 2, 3, 5 Helena Drive. This home is absolutely beautiful inside. She was having the kitchen retiled, and I think Eunice Murray's son-in-law. That's my stomach. Did y'all hear that? That's my stomach. I think that Eunice Murray's son-in-law was actually doing the tiling, but I could be wrong about that. And it's a beautiful house, and it's a beautiful whole everything. It's really gorgeous. And this was the first thing she owned. I mean, this was her first home she ever owned. And here's another angle of it. Again, it's sprawling. Could you see her from the driveway from the street? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I did try to look for it. This is Eunice being led out of the home that morning. Okay. The infamous photograph of the table. Now, we saw a little bit of this when we showed her body. But this is they were empty. All that shit was empty. Could she have taken all that? I don't know. No, because okay, so for the autopsy, they had some people saying, well, no, she was such a huge drug addict that her body would have absorbed it very quickly, and that's why you didn't have anything for that. This is, you see the copper here? That's from the window that was actually broken. So she could have done it. I mean, it could have happened. But if you're swallowing 150 pills, which is what they said she swallowed of the two drugs, 150 pills, you better have a whole lot more water than that little thing right there. Just saying. And the fact that the toxicity of her liver was all out astronomical, highly unusual to be that high, the concentration in her liver. Again, we have no pills. We got no pill casings. We got no crystallization of the stomach. We have nothing in her stomach. her. And nowhere there were no pill casings. They should have been yellow. There should have been yellow pill casings in her system, and there was not. So you have some people, professional people saying, her system absorbed it so quickly. Calm the hell on. No, because if she took those pills, let's say at 8 o'clock, but she would had to have taken them before that because she was off her face when Peter Lawford called at 8. But she wasn't off her face when Joe DiMaggio Jr. called her at 7:30, 7:45. Do you see what this doesn't make sense? Even the official story doesn't make sense. This is the official story. Does it make sense? And the timeline is ridiculous. And this is what they decided to go through. This is the one they decided to go with. Okay, whatever. I mean, so then you got the second story where she was in a coma. This girl, and I am 56 years old. I'm 20 years older than she was when she died. At 36 years old, this girl, because that's what she was, make no mistake, she was a little waif. Her word, not mine. That is what she always considered herself. And they let her down. Dr. Greensome let her down. Why are you going over there every day for therapy? Why are you writing these goddamn prescriptions? Engelberg, too. What the hell are you doing? She couldn't sleep. That was her. I mean, when you read the final report, and let me see if I can do that. I think I can. Y'all can't see this, but I'm going to read it. So let me find it now. It's just right over here. Oh, shit. Don't tell me I got rid of this. Okay, here is just a little write-up. This is the end, right? I mean, they found no suicide note, so that was one strike against them. But, sometimes they don't. Now, Dr. Greason has said, oh, yeah, she was pretty depressed. And it says here that in one gulp or in a few gulps, she took over a minute. So she would have had to have put 150 tablets in her mouth and swallow that bunch, and then get another handful and swallow that bunch, and then get a third or fourth or fifth handful and swallow that. Okay? No. So, in the final report, I'm going to read you some of it because it just makes me so pissed off. Miss Monroe has suffered from psychiatric disturbance for a long time. She experienced severe fears and frequent depressions. Mood changes were abrupt and unpredictable. Among symptoms of disorganization, sleep disturbance was prominent, for which she had been taking sedative drugs for many years. She was thus familiar with and experienced in the use of sedative drugs. And well aware of their dangers. In our investigation, we have learned that Miss Monroe had often expressed wishes to give up, to withdraw, and to even die. On more than one occasion, in the past, she had made a suicide attempt, which was true. She did. She did attempt suicide probably over 5 times. That's true. But she attempted suicide using sedative drugs. On these occasions, she called for help and was rescued. It is our opinion that the same pattern was repeated on the evening of August 7th, except for the rescue. It had been our practice with similar suicides, blah, blah, blah. Additional clues for suicide provided by the physical evidence are on high levels of barbiturates and chlorhydrate, and there was alcohol in her system, by the way, in which, so they had phenobarbital, which is the Nembutal. the chloral hydrate were the two drugs. The chloral hydrate, I think, is for short-term insomnia. Nebutol is the big gun. That's the one you're going to take, So basically, they just have, she was a little nuts. She tried this before. They knew they could get away with this shit, honestly, because she had done this before. But now, Eunice Murray told the same story basically for a little while. And then you get to about 10 years out, 20 years out from the actual death. Eunice changes her story a lot. And she does end up saying to a reporter for a magazine, yeah, Bobby Kennedy was there that night. They had a huge fight. He left mad. She went to bed. So she changed her story to say Bobby Kennedy was there. Now, you have the cop that came in and thought it was odd that Eunice was doing laundry at 4 or 5 in the morning. He did not come up with that. 20 years after the death is when he came out and said, well, she was doing the laundry that night. But that couldn't have happened. I say that because everybody saw her doing the laundry. Not just that cop. He didn't wait 20 years and everybody went, really? No, they were all there. Let's talk about the Red Diary. We don't know where it is. Nobody's seen the Red Diary. Again, I think a lot of this was pillow talk and that she would jot things down. I think in that red diary was everything. It was everything. And I think that whether her and Bobby or her and Bobby and John or her and John, whatever the combination was, the boys were really sloppy. And there was only one person that was going to answer to that, and that is Marilyn Monroe. It wasn't them two. They figured, fuck it. We got to kill her. I mean, the mob had listening devices in there. The boat story. What's the boat story? Yeah, it was it was real. That City Rain Girl. That's funny. You should ask that. There was a book about this called The Red Diary. And so if you punch in Marilyn's Red Diary, right, that book will pop up. It will tell you that it is fiction, right? And but they're talking about a book. You got to go way back. So she had a Red Diary. That diary was gone. So from whatever happened at 8, Jacobs came in there at 10:30, 11. She was dead already, right? Already dead. They call an ambulance. That's another story. That's a whole nother story. That's another story. Jacobs said she was dead when he got there. Or Jacobs' wife did. But then she wasn't dead. They took her to the hospital. She died. Came back. Bobby Kennedy was in the area. He took a helicopter somewhere. I mean, he was seen in LA. Bobby was there. I don't know if we don't know. Did she say, you know what? Screw you two. I got my diary here. I know all about your test, all this, security. I know it all. You two have used me and abused me, and I'm going to tell them about it on Monday. Yes, one of them got it. And there have been people afterwards who said they were her friends, or they said that they found the diary in a box of her things. No, the fuck you did not. No, you did not. So everybody's story changed. Because after 20, 25 years, they're dead. John Kennedy died the next year. Bobby Kennedy died 5 years later. Dorothy Kilgallen, who was on to all of this, died in between John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. She was murdered because of what she knew. She also had a file that she kept on. Hey, Riri, Dorothy Kilgallen kept the file on everything that she knew about the John F. Kennedy assassination. She was murdered. That file was gone. We never saw that file again. So what was Marilyn going to talk about at this news conference? I don't know. I have no idea. There was no really reason for her to do a press conference. I don't know. She had been hired back by Something's Got to Give. Somebody had said maybe it was like a question and answer. Well, what? About what? She would have. Rain Girl, I have told people, if y'all don't know who Dorothy Kilgallen is, you go right back to my videos. There's two of them, part one, part two. Dorothy Kilgallen was a force to be reckoned with. And it took the CIA, the FBI, the mob, anybody to take her down. Because she had figured it the fuck out. And she got a copy of the Warren report before J. Edgar Hoover got it. And how do we know that? She put it in the damn paper. She put it in the newspaper. So we have the mob who absolutely, they say, bugged Marilyn's house so they could get the pillow talk, And then you have, well, they never really had sex in her house. They did it at Peter Lawford's house or somewhere, they would meet up, But the mob definitely did have that house bugged. So was the mob going to get rid of her? I don't know why they would, because let her go. If I'm a mobster, I'm saying let her have her damn press conference. They're going to look like shit. They're going to forget about us. But the mob is one of the possibilities. CIA, FBI, one of the possibilities. I guess two of the possibilities. Somebody working directly for the Kennedys, another possibility. Could be. Don't know. Well, yeah. Well, did Marilyn, I don't know if you know this, SJ, but before she died, Marilyn had made that, like, Fox Studio, $2 million. And again, let's look at her. She wasn't happy. There's been so many people that said, oh, yeah, well, she was just a whore. She was screwing both of them at one time, talking about the brothers. And she married this one over here. And she had sex over here. And she was promiscuous. And okay. Yeah, okay. Is she? Well, 36-year-old girl. With a horrific childhood. Horrific. Was she promiscuous? Maybe. Don't know. Have no idea. I don't like to even say that. I don't even like to repeat that because I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah, she will make it shit. She will make it shit. That's why she had her own production company. And she did have a slight press conference on that when she was with the acting coaches, and she had formed her own production company. She was getting tired of these stupid movies that Fox was making her make, where she's some dumb blonde. She wanted to be, she did a lot at Strasbourg. She did a lot of studying. She did a lot of work on her craft. And she wanted to get a little bit, have a little bit more control over it and get these stupid. Oh, yes, Liz Taylor. Liz Taylor didn't want to do Cleopatra. She did not want to do it. And she said, watch this. This will get them off me real quick. Okay, Fox, I'll do it for $1 million. And Fox was like, okay. And Elizabeth Taylor was like, oh, shit. Elizabeth Taylor was the first woman to make $1 million on one film. Know that. Because she didn't think they'd pay it. They said, okay. She's like, shit, but now I got to do it. So again, we're left with SDA or just anybody there, anybody. Um, who do you think did it? Do you think the government did it? Do you think the Kennedy people did it? Do you think the CIA or the FBI did it? Do you think, God, I don't know. You think he did it? Did it? I'm James Hall was the ambulance driver. James Hall was the ambulance driver, right? I think so. Am I right? James Hall? Wasn't he? I can't remember. Yeah, take your pick. Everybody had a motive. You had a woman that was used and abused. Yeah, I don't and I think women are more sensitive to her life. I say that because we've all been there. I mean, we're not orphans, but I mean, Jackie Kennedy, well, she could, let me tell you, I think Jackie Kennedy was just fine. And her little, I know the night that Marilyn, hold on, sorry. Oh, Joe Crawford was absolutely horrible. Joe Crawford was absolutely horrible. I was looking at a picture of her the other day. She was in her apartment in New York after she married the Coke guy, Pepsi guy. And all of her furniture was covered in plastic, clear plastic. She was such a germaphobe. But I think that women see themselves in Maryland somehow, some way. You've fallen for the wrong guy for the wrong reasons because he says the right things to you. All you really want is, somebody that loves you, somebody that will take up for you, somebody that will help you, somebody that will hold you down, pick you up, and sometimes that's a really hard thing to find. Now, if I always talk about the heiresses of the 20s, 30s, Doris Duke and Barbara Hutton and Gloria Vanderbilt, who were basically told from childhood, nobody's going to love you for you. They're just going to want your money. Nobody's going to love you for you. You can't trust anyone. You can't trust anyone. You think that doesn't F up somebody's head? And I think Marilyn was the same way. I think she had to wonder, are you here because I'm Marilyn Monroe? Because I'm really Norma Jean Baker. Marilyn Monroe was somebody that I pretend to be. Are you here because I'm Marilyn Monroe, or are you here because you genuinely care for me? And if DiMaggio loved her. DiMaggio handled the let me see what other pictures I have. Let's see. That you're taking out. Okay, there we go. I knew I'd forgotten. This was a diary. My mom worked the guy who used to do James Bond's hair. Oh, the woman that did Marilyn's hair talked to her that day too. Forgot that. Sydney, what's your face? She talked to her that day too and said Marilyn was fine. But this is just something that she would write. A little bit of poetry, a little bit of self-help stuff that she would write. This is not the Red Diary, but she did, jot down things. Now, this is her in the mortuary. This is the fixed libidity that we're talking about on the side of her face, where she was face down in that pillow. All of her muscles, as you can tell, are now gone. So, our muscles hold our face up, right? Well, when you're dead, they don't. And so that's why you see like this double chin that's happening down there, and how her whole face just doesn't look like it should. And this is when I heard that the coroner guy took the sheet off of her and said, oh, she's just an aging, unkempt woman. Really? Okay. All right. You say so. And then we're going to go to I wasn't sure if this was right. That's why when I added it, I was going to give a disclaimer. I don't know if this is, it looks the same. If you look at that wave of hair, oh, you can't see what I'm pointing at. If you look at that little wave, I mean, obviously her hair is wet right here. And then if you look right here, she looks more like herself. I don't know. I can't say definitively this is her. I don't know, but it did kind of look like I added it. We get there. Now this is her. This is the screen test for Something's Got to Give. This was Marilyn Monroe before she died. Look at her. Look at her. Disheveled, unkept, aging actress. That's not what I'm seeing. And I do, if y'all go, when we're done here, go on YouTube, watch these videos of her. She's laughing. She's cute. She's sweet. She's trying her best. Okay. She was an absolute disaster on the movie Misfits. A disaster. She basically killed Clark Gable. I mean, basically, she killed him. She didn't know her lines. She would run everything by one of her acting coaches that just should have just stated, Marilyn needed a lot of people around her. She needed a lot of people to support her. And it still didn't work. It still didn't work. I got all her movies too. Actually, I watched about that. Now, this is her grave. Okay. It's pink because so many people have kissed that thing that the marble has absorbed the lipstick. And so Joe DiMaggio had roses delivered every week to Marilyn until the day he died. Here's John F. Kennedy. Here's his grave. And I'm assuming Jackie. And then we're going to go to Bobby Kennedy's grave. Everybody's dead. Everybody died. Everybody died too early. Everybody was murdered. And, yeah. No, apparently her casket is in there, stated disorder, but I mean, Bree, I could be wrong, but I didn't include any photographs of the actual funeral because Joe DiMaggio had that shit clamped down. There was no Hollywood people coming to that had hurt her or who had, used her, abused her, whatever. He clamped down on that shit. So, and then you can watch all the crowd that is just crowding this, this cemetery and the chapel. And the same thing when Jane Harlow died. People were just, crushing each other to get a view of it. But yeah, so they have the casket that was going in. I thought, now that you say that, now I gotta wonder. I don't know now. I don't know. I don't know what they put in crypts. I thought it was the whole thing. I mean, I don't know. So in the end, they all died. They all died not by their own hand hello. And for what? So they killed Marilyn so she wouldn't tell their story. They used it. They, like as Joe Kennedy, their father, said, have as much sex with as many women as you can. And I think because they disliked their mother so much, she was not really a lovely woman, that they probably had some real problems dealing with women. I don't know. I wouldn't even begin to put those two in therapy, John and Bobby. I couldn't do it. I don't know. The Kennedys gave a lot to this country. That's true. I'll say that's true. But again, Bobby and John were very, very sloppy in their dealings. Very sloppy. And so it was going to happen, just like Ted, the younger brother, very sloppy. He's trying to have an affair with a woman, a girl, a campaign worker, and he flips the car drunk, gets out, goes home, And then I got what the next morning says, I might have flipped the car. He did. Yeah. Joe DiMaggio paid for the funeral, paid for everything, had the flowers delivered every week. What happened to her home? I don't know what could have happened to her home. I've never even tried to look at that. I don't know. I'm sure she had a will, but I don't know what would have happened to her home or all of her memorabilia. I have no idea. Yeah, left the woman to drown in the car and then showed up with a neck brace on. Shut up, Ted Kennedy. Just shut up. And now we've got this second generation. Bobby Kennedy Jr., this fucking idiot who is against vaccines and takes his grandchildren to swim in effing sewage creeks. Okay? And he's now up there. Give me a fucking. The only good thing I'll say about Ted Kennedy is this. All of his brothers died, and they all had 900 children, right? I mean, John only had 2. And Ted Kennedy became everybody's dad. All of his nieces and nephews. He was their dad. He showed up on graduations. He showed up on birthdays. If he got a phone call from his nephews or niece while he was a senator, he'd shut the day down and answer that phone. That's one good thing I'll say about Ted Kennedy. He took those kids over. I mean, his dad was gone, his brothers were gone. He was the one. Stood by him when they got married, But they're all kind of a little trashy. Yeah, exactly. Midnight Baker. His family like we ain't got nothing to do with him. I don't know what the hell wrong with him. So that's it. That is what we talked about. I don't know. I hope I have conveyed this, and I hope I have given you more information than I think I remember. I very rarely look. I take all these notes, but I very rarely look at them because it's in my brain. And so every time, please know this, if you've never been here before, I will forget things. Mountain Mama, thank God she's in here. SDA saved me this time too. They will say something, and I'm, oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that. I forget things. But that's our conspiracy for tonight. I don't know if we're going to do a conspiracy next Saturday or we'll just go on to like another mystery, like murder. We haven't had a murder in a while. That sounds horrible. We haven't done a murder in a while. So we might do a murder. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I think maybe we're just going to add in conspiracies every couple of Saturdays. So in our thing, we'll have Saturday Night Murder Mysteries, Saturday Night Mystery Club. We'll throw in some conspiracies. We'll throw in a couple paranormals, and we should get, oh yes, Lady Diana asked him, we got to do that. That will be the next. I think, thank God you said that. I think that will be the next conspiracy. Is Lady Diana. I think that's a good idea. Now, will I do it next Saturday? I don't know. I want to sink my teeth into a good murder. And then we'll do Diana. Yeah, I'll think about it by tomorrow. I'll figure it out. Well, November Man, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. We're very nice people over here. We really are. And Peggy is so great. I love Peggy so much. Oh, they took her ass out for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll make up my mind by tomorrow. But Diana will definitely be the next conspiracy that we'll do. Yeah. Oh, and let me tell y'all this. Y'all know how every story we do. Oh, you gotta know. Every story we do has got aliens in it. Y'all know this has happened, right? There is an alien story, and I don't know what I did with it, that aliens killed Marilyn, or aliens took Marilyn away and left the shell of her. I shit you not. When I saw it, I died laughing because we always talk about this. We always talk about it. It's always an alien somewhere in there. So that's my show for tonight, guys. I appreciate y'all being here. And yeah, and participating. I love it when y'all participate. That's why I always try to give you, hey Mr. T. I love you, Mr. T. That's why I always try to give you what I'm gonna do a week before so you can do your own research or become familiar with it. So tomorrow I will pick another, we'll do a murder. We'll do a murder. We haven't had a good murder in a minute. So, and y'all know that last week, I do have to say this. Last Sunday, Catherine's here. She can say it too. Last Sunday, we suffered a great loss. The Toronto Maple Leafs choked terribly and lost in the second round of Stanley Cup Finals. It's been a bad week for the family. It's been a bad week. Yeah, I was in deep depression, as were we. Look, Catherine knows we have been. I do not know a lot of stuff that's been going on in the community. Shit, you not, was inconsolable. So I want a good murder. Next Saturday night, we're gonna do a good one too. Carrie, they do it every fucking year. We're gonna do. Yeah, Catherine. Yeah, we always do Catherine's Corner. Cat's Corner. She had nothing. We haven't done anything but lay around. I love you, Mitten Mama. Mitten Mama and Joe eating a damn banana split for dinner. That's when you know. That's when you know you are there. I love you, Carrie. I love y'all so much. So I will see you. I gotta get this Eris thing going, and I've got to get the Windsors, those bastards, the damn Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Oh, I hate them so much. And I want to get that thing going too. So we're gonna get it going. It's gonna be good. So I will see y'all next Saturday. I'll let you know tomorrow what we're gonna do. And then look, we might pop up. Girl, we might pop up with something. I don't know. Please be good though, and be careful. And I think that we're gonna have another round of storms this week. So be safe. And Ranger, you're the best. You're the best. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you very soon. Okay. Thank you again for coming. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. I'll see you later. Bye. Oh, well, I'm not. If I ended it, I might not have ended it. Did I end it? I should have ended it. I don't know why it's not ending. Why is it not ending? Did I end it? I think